reaching out to you.
Yeah, well, it's interesting as a photographer because it's like, in the way I came up is I was like, okay, I'm going to work with bloggers to get my clout up, to meet people, to network, and I knew I was going to do it for free, you know, and I feel like there's like a certain level of, and it's weird because I feel like as like a blogger, there's like a certain level of photographer that until you have to pay them, but it's weird because I feel like you lose a little bit by not paying because you're going to get crappier images.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the guy that is better at doing lifestyle photos and just maybe giving him like 50 or $100 or whatever it is, or just having your own photographer, like, I don't know, like, what is your angle on working like with photographers? Like, do you think they shouldn't get paid? Like,
it's a huge level of respect. Huge level of respect that needs to be drawn. If you're not paying them, you need to compensate them in some way, whether it's getting them the information of the company you've been reaching out to. It's either getting them jobs or like opportunities or products, payment, whatever it can be.
Dude, you're extremely nice. When I was doing it, I was hoping that bloggers would just put me on their story and tag me. That was like the best thing I could ask for. I was like, please put me on your story.
Yeah, I mean, as a starter, but the thing is, like, if I 100%, if I'm reaching out to you and I really like your quality of work, yes. If I think you're okay, I'm doing you a solid.
Yeah, if you're reaching out to them, obviously it's a different power dynamic than if someone's DMing you like, hey, can we collab? I'd love to work with you, kind of thing.
Exactly. On top of that as well too, like if they're reaching out to me, if a photographer is reaching out to me, I'm gonna see it as you're reaching out to me to collab, do a free shoot. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna see your quality. It's like a test run.
Yeah, like whether or not you're getting paid, it doesn't matter because you're like helping them in a weird way by putting them on.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And they get to tag you in a post.
So what goes through your mind? What goes through your mind? Because I mean, you might get some too at this point, but like specifically Roman, like what goes through your mind when you get those like DMs from like, these kind of newish photographers who are just trying to collab? Like what's your thought process? Whether you want or not want to work with them.
It's communication, because sometimes they won't communicate and they'll be super butthurt when they're like, okay, well, this is how much I charge when we meet. Like, by the way, this is how much I charge. I'm like, you couldn't tell me that in the DM.
Oh, you've had that happen where they save it for the meeting?
Numerous times. I've had people, like, after the shoot's done, give me that awkward conversation, like, by the way, I'm going to charge you next time. And I'm like, I directed the whole shoot. I told you where I want your camera to be. Your ISOs were at freaking 12,000, whatever it was. Like, I actually helped you out. You should be paying me. And at the same time, like, you don't want to be a dick to the person and be like, you know what, I could just find another photographer. I got a whole bunch on freaking speed dial. And you want them to respect their hustle, but sometimes you gotta,
That's like a weird tactic, like as a photographer to like do the whole thing and then come around with like the right hook and be like, I'm charging you, or here's my rates. Like
it's like the New York City like scam thing. Like someone will hand you a mixtape or a CD.
Oh yeah, that'd be $5.
A bundle of roses, and you're like, yeah, that's $5. You're already holding it. Are you just gonna hand it back, or are you just gonna avoid the conflict and give them $5?
I'll pee on it.
Yeah,
$5.
Yeah, but that's like a very newbie photographer. But I feel like that's kind of who's sliding the DMs, like these new guys just trying to get their feet wet.
Right.
And it's like they almost don't deserve the payment in a weird way because it's like you have to instruct them and everything. They might not even know. They might not even know how to like do a lifestyle shoot. Full fashion shoot. I'm gonna say something. You're probably gonna react to it. Have you ever had a shoot where like you got the photos back and it was all portraits?
I was just gonna talk to you. About that. I actually written that down because I was like, this is one of the biggest things that pisses me off. Dealing with a new photographer and all the photos, like I can't use any of them. And I just wasted like an hour, 2 hours of my time.
Really?
And they wasted their time as well too.
Really?
None of them are cut. None of them are cropped for Instagram. None of them are framed in the way that can be posted.
When I work with photographers now, I have to double check. I make sure I double check the
you
settings.
You have to make sure they have the shots and stuff like that.
This is where I become a creative director. This is where I become like the director of everything. Actually, that's what my main goal is, to become a director. And I wanna, host shoots. I wanna be able to create everything. I'm that analytical.
Well, you have to because it's your content. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you don't. And it's like you want the photographer to deliver the photo unedited for the most part.
And on top of that, if I'm dealing with a respected photographer,
it's a different dynamic.
No, not even that. Like, okay, so there's again, it's just all about communication. If I'm dealing with a respected photographer, if I like your work, all this stuff, if you're not adamant of you wanting to edit the photos, I'm gonna still say give me the raws. I'm gonna edit them myself because I enjoy editing photos. Mm-hmm. I actually enjoy the process.
And you also have a very specific style that you
I need
adhere to for your feed.
Yeah.
Exactly. So That's one thing. Second thing is, if I know they know how to press a button, I'll tell them this. Stand over there. I'll be right here. This is exactly the shot I want you to have. I'll even grab their camera, take a picture of it. I'm like, I'm gonna be right here. Just stand right there. I'll be here, and I'll organize the whole thing.
I've done that several times
It's.
Like
I mean, you've seen me.
had to do that, really.
He's taking my pictures, and he knows how like particular I am.
It's interesting because it's like it seems like you can see the post ahead of time. Like you
That's
see
how
it,
you
you're like, oh, here's the set. You know, it's gonna be popping. I'm gonna angle like this.
Yeah, because, and there's a lot of times there's a disconnect between the person, the subject, and the photographer. Because the photographer might be looking at it from, okay, this is going to be going in my portfolio. I want to specialize in portrait photography. They're going to take a bunch of portraits.
Mm-hmm.
The model is trying to use it for social media. They don't want a headshot. They've got a million headshots.
Yeah,
they want to feature the outfit.
I know that because I was so guilty of that when I first started.
Yeah.
And then it took me a while, and someone had to tell me like dude, like I know we're like working together, but like I'm a blogger. I do like fashion and stuff. It's not about portraits. Yeah.
Right.
And I messed that up. So
you just got to know the people that you're shooting.
It happens, but the thing is, like, it's also the influencer, the model's job to say like you did that wrong, and so it's like, oh, cool, this is awesome, and then they don't use the photos at all, and you're just like, what the fuck? I thought you love the photos. Why aren't you posting them? And that's even more annoying. So it just has to be a communication thing, and saying like, I don't want a portrait. I want give me half body, give me full body, get just the shoes, like just. Communicate.
Yeah, you got to get this watch. Make sure you're getting this logo and stuff like that.
If I communicate and you still give me a portrait, we're gonna fight.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there has to be some sort of conversation between like the influencer / blogger. I don't know what to say. Should I say influencer or blogger?
At this point, let's just say the model, because we're talking about photography now.
Okay, yeah. Well, anyways, but I'm saying it from the perspective of a photographer working with a blogger. I'll say blogger. Anyways.
Yeah. Say influencer, because not every influencer is a blogger, but every blogger can be an influencer.
Well, there we go. That's what I was trying to get at.
Boom.
So,
say influencer.
Yeah, I mean, just working with the influencer, it seems like there needs to be some level of like communication ahead of time.
Yeah. Right.
Like, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for out of this shoot. You know, it's because I feel like in that dynamic, the photographer's working for you.
Yeah. Right. No, that's exactly how it is.
Oh, everything.
So give me the dream photographer collab. Like how should it go? Like from the perspective of someone slides in your DMs.
Okay, the dream photography collab honestly would be. So not speaking about money, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
Just
pure collab.
Yeah, pure collaboration.
Let's collab, bro.
Yeah, dude. Let's collab hard. So we agree on a location, outfit, everything is set up. Literally, they come, they know how to use a camera. I tell them, this is the kind of shot. These are the kind of shots I want. Mm-hmm. They comprehend it because they've shot them before. Because I've actually saw their feed and saw photos that I want from their feed.
Hence why they're even there in the first place, because you saw them. Okay.
Exactly, which is it's basically scouting.
So they should baseline have some photos that they want.
I would want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's your point. Like having a portfolio. The reason for doing that is so that you attract people that want the same shit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. So me saying, okay, I want these kind of angles. Half body, full body. I want this in the background. Just as me directing it, them getting it on the first try, basically. And I know a few photographers
Save time.
Exactly. It's all about saving time because I've gone through some shoots where I'm exhausted at the end of it. I'm like, and it actually feels like work.
Those are like new photography shoots. That like new photographers, when you are exhausted and it takes like 3 hours to do a shoot, and you're just like, so much. Like that's how you,
especially like when you're feeling yourself already and you have the pose and you're energized, you just drank your cold brew.
You're
feeling it. You're feeling it. 3 hours on the road, you're just like, fuck this, I don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
And then the content's destroyed.
And sometimes it doesn't even take a full 3 hours. Like when we were shooting at Sweet Green. Something about that day.
10 minutes.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes.
Yeah, the quicker the better, because like I think baseline is like the photographer needs to know how to work their camera settings. Yeah. They should probably be shooting in manual. You should definitely be shooting in manual.
You're not shooting in
but it's like they know their settings. They can take your like sort of creative direction, instruction, and perhaps like it seems like the photographer should ask these questions because not all bloggers communicate this, and I know that from experience.
Yeah.
I had to kind of start assuming these things and start asking them myself, which is like I'm trying to give the primer for them right here.
Exactly. And honestly, like if you want to call me a seasoned influencer or whatever.
I mean, you are though. You are.
Yeah. you realistically shouldn't be shooting with new guys in the first place.
The
kinda
further
have to
you
have
get
your
into
roster.
it.
Yeah, like you should already have exactly a roster of photographers you work with, and the bigger you get, you should be working with bigger photographers, and it's kind of just pushing each other a little bit more up the ladder.
Yeah, always like upgrading the level of your quality of work.
Exactly, quality of work, and on top of that, if I have a photographer that has 10K followers and I have 10K
That's
followers,
beneficial for you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a very valid conversation right there.
exactly.
It's two completely different followings of the same size. They can just mesh off of each other.
Well, yeah, because it's like if you have like 10K, right, and the photographer with like 200 followers is up, you're like, oh man, you're gonna get so much off of me from this, or it's like,
Exactly.
and then you might ask me for payment. It's like
That's when
but
you
at the
really
same
feel like
time,
you should be charging them.
at the same time, if it's a collab and the photographer has almost as many followers, or if not more than you, you're like, oh, this is totally worth it. They probably have good content, and we're both gonna benefit off of like the social
Exactly.
collab.
Because they understand business, especially because of that. If you again, I've dealt with both sides, and I'll tell you one thing. I'd much rather go through a 10-minute photo shoot than a 3-hour photo shoot with one outfit.
I think. Oh my god, that like hurt my soul. Yeah, I've done that before. Like, when I first started the 2-hour, 3-hour photo shoot with one outfit, and you're like, I can only use one of these photos from this 3 hours of work.
Exactly, and that's what starts feeling like work, and you're just like, I'm exhausted.
So how about it seems like they should know how to approach it. Maybe have something portfolio. The clout level is important. It's not everything, but at least a portfolio probably can trump it.
Definitely, most definitely.
Have the communication like day of the shoot or day of the shoot. As far as what you guys are covering, because there's usually a reason why you're shooting. You're not just shooting unless you just need content, right?
Yeah.
And then what about after that? So you shot the photos. Like, what do you expect from a photographer after that? Are you kind of hoping that they deliver it a certain way? Like, what do you love? Like the best sort of.
In his
thing?
instance, like he said, he likes to edit his own shit because
So-
he has that really specific editing style that he goes for.
I've had to communicate with this happened to me with 2 photographers. The reason why I know this exact number is because it was a pain in the ass to get these photos. So the first time he sent me edited ones, and I'm like, love the edits, awesome, cool. I'm not gonna use them.
It's not your aesthetic.
Yeah, you can use them for your page. Can I have the raws? Send me the JPEGs.
So many photographers are weird about that though.
Yeah, this is where it comes down to where like it communicate with me that you as an artist want to do the whole thing. If you want to do the whole thing, do the whole thing, and I won't fight you with that. I will use that photo because I respect your photo.
And a lot of that same like kind of scouting goes the opposite direction too, because a lot of the influencers are obviously looking at these par for the course level photographers that are they get the framing right, they get the lighting right, and they like their editing style. But a lot of the time, if you you have a very, very obvious consistent style.
Yeah.
So if some random photographer is approaching you and DMing you specifically, they had to go to your page to DM you.
Exactly.
They see this super consistent editing style, and then they want to deliver you something super saturated and bright and colorful.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a fault on them too, because they should know who they're shooting.
That seems like a very much like inexperienced sort of thing,
Definitely is.
I feel like when you kind of get into it, like maybe for like your first collab, like you probably mess up, but I feel like as like a photographer, sometimes it's like be nice about telling us we're wrong, Be like let us down softly and be like, look, this is kind of what I was looking for,
But I would kind of rather that not being a straight up asshole about it.
Well,
I would
you shouldn't
rather
be a
that
straight
harsh,
asshole.
like, hey, this is not what I post.
Yeah.
This is the style that I go for.
Look, everyone should definitely be nice.
I personally think baseline photographers should know working with bloggers is that you shouldn't edit the photos because each blogger has their own aesthetic.
Yeah.
And while you probably could edit that photo to look like their aesthetic, you're gonna waste your time doing it because they're probably gonna throw a filter over it or ask you for the raws to begin with.
Exactly.
But sometimes it works out though, because I actually I did a shoot a couple of months ago, and I specifically did 2 different editing styles because the way I shot the photos worked for both editing styles. So I did one that was super like golden hour looking and really not oversaturated, but saturated enough that it actually really worked for the style. And I also I exported all those and then I went back to square one and then re-edited them all for her aesthetic.
You're way too kind. You got way too much time on your hands. Holy shit.
Well, I don't believe in sleep.
Yeah.
Catch up. That's like me during Fashion Week.
Yeah.
But so it seems like you want the photographer to like quick turnaround,
Oh, definitely.
Like
turn
you
around.
want like the unfiltered, the unedited JPEGs. Do you want them to kind of go through
No,
and sort
unedited raws.
unedited? Oh, you actually want the raws.
Raw
I can't do it. When they send me a JPEG, I'm just like,
Try again.
I'm not an idiot. Like,
Oh, really? See,
yeah.
In a weird way.
no, because
CR2.
that's
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Use that
dot.
file.
That's them being lazy. That's why.
But you don't even need that though. Like you don't really need a CR2 file.
If
I
you're
need-
trying
I
to
need a
retain that
raw
color
because-
information.
What are you editing in?
Lightroom
On your phone?
on my computer or my phone,
Okay.
and I have the
I guess raw. I guess raws.
I have the full version on my phone as well. Too.
That was me pressing as a photographer who's like, why do you want those raws?
No, I get it. I know some people who want the raws and they edit in Visco, and I'm just like,
Oh my god.
it's gonna the photos will be destroyed anyways.
I was assuming .jpeg because when you transfer it over to you, it's just a smaller file size as opposed to transferring.
I've got no
you lose
shame
you lose
sending
you lose
him.
you lose so much data when I get that JPEG.
Yeah,
And the
why
reason
it's
being
more
is because like I don't know, not because it'll pop up and it'll say raw, but sometimes I'll give give them the benefit of doubt and I'll edit the JPEG, and I'm like, okay, give me the raws now, and I'll edit the same picture, the same way. I'll just copy and paste what I just did, and I'll actually get the clouds in there. I'll actually pull some of my
Yeah, you have a lot more control over a raw file. Like the
Yeah.
depth is insane. That's why the file is like
Oh yeah.
4 times as much. On your.
It's asking for a lot. I know it is
Super
because it
important.
takes so much more time to download a raw file.
Yeah.
So much more data. And
So do you like the photographer to send you the full set or just send you like the shots that they thought were good?
full set.
Really?
It's difficult. I know, but that's why I like working with seasoned photographers.
Or quick because the full set's only like 50 photos probably.
Exactly. If
If.
I don't want to deal with if there's 100 photos in there. Like granted, like remember I'm going through the stress as well too, trying to find the perfect photo.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing. It's the same headache. So after a while, as an influencer, you realize what you want and what you don't want out of a photographer.
Mm.
And that's why you get to a point where like you don't work with new photographers.
That makes sense.